Welcome back to the Sam JW channel. I'm bringing you another video of Oxford United's transfer business during this January 2025 window. We've got a couple of bits of information in terms of loans we're talking about, of course, both in and out. A couple of permanent transfers, both in and out. A lot of rumours still floating around about our football club with about 10 days left of this window. We're expecting we'll get at least one more player coming in, and that should be later on this week. And then out, it just depends on whether clubs make offers and Oxford can come to agreements. But let's talk about the players that are actually involved in today's video, and we're going to start with a very, very interesting name. We're starting with Stephan Negru, who has had his loan at Salford City terminated by Oxford United. He's been brought back to the club. Now, an interesting deal, because it seemed that the plan was, obviously we had defensive injuries, Elliot Moore obviously out until the beginning of February, and Sam Long also obviously picked up that knock against Plymouth. So the theory was, okay, maybe he's going to come back in and be part of the squad for the rest of the campaign. However, as we'll go into in a little bit, Oxford have now signed a centre-back, so it looks like Stephan Negru will be going back out on loan for the rest of the campaign. Most likely, I would think anyway, given he's just been recalled from a League 2 loan, he'll be going out on a League 1 loan. I'd love him to go to Leyton Orient, obviously link up with Jack Curry, get a little bit of squad chemistry building before next season. Obviously also, Super Dan Adji there, another former Oxford man. I'd love him to go there, but I think any League 1 loan would be a good step up for Stephan Negru as long as he gets the decent amount of minutes. Because, as we'll see here, he's been really, really good for Salford. He was, a rock at the heart of that defence, and you've seen kind of when he came back to to Oxford from Salford, a little bit of drop off in form from Karl Robinson's side. Did see on Twitter when Negru was recalled, a lot of people harkening back to that time when the late great George Baldock was recalled by Karl Robinson when we were in the midst of a promotion chase, and to go back to an NK side that were in the middle of a relegation scrap, which there's a couple of parallels to that situation here. But yeah, very, very good performances by Stephan Negru. Obviously, he's still only 22 years old. This is a lad that, obviously, when KR brought him in, was very much a kind of a bit part player during his time with our football club. I think he's really, really a lad that, could massively improve our defence and improve as a player with a couple of years. He's decent height. We've seen he's decent on the ball. Obviously, was a little bit unlucky that when Des was manager, he had to deploy him due to injury issues at right back. Obviously, was involved in conceding 2 late equalisers against Reading in the Thames Valley derby at Grenoble Road, and then to Northampton. I think a couple of games later that was. Yeah, it's right back, certainly not Stephan Negru position, but I mean, looking towards the end of the 22-23 campaign, he came in and put in some pretty warrior-like performances in a pretty awful Oxford side. So, hopefully Negru gets a League 1 loan and can develop more as a footballer, because, I think I and every Oxford fan would love Stephan Negru to become a regular part of Oxford United's setup for the Championship, because it's clearly a very good footballer in there. Hello folks, Sam from the future here with a little bit of an update on this situation. So it's been announced later in the week that Stephan Negru is going to be returning to Karl Robinson's Salford City for the remainder of the campaign. Now, as you'll know, we had a bit of a defensive injury crisis at our football club during the first half of the January window. Elliot Moore out until February. We didn't know the status of Ben Nelson, how his recovery was going. Sam Long has obviously picked up that knock at Plymouth that thankfully it looks like he's recovered from. So the idea was that if need be, Stephan Negru could be played in the Exeter or Plymouth game, and he'd then be available for the rest of the season, being not able to play for any other football club. But it seems the club chose not to do that, bring in Michal Helick and look for a League 1 loan. It also seems they've not been able to get the League One loan they wanted for Stephan Negru, so they've returned him back to Karl Robinson at Salford City to finish the campaign and finish up Stephan's development with them before he returns to us in the summer. Back to me from the past to talk about another Oxford United departure then. Speaking of Irishmen, we've had confirmation that Ed McGinty has officially left Oxford United on a permanent transfer, joining Shamrock Rovers. No reported transfer fee. I'd estimate it's maybe around the £100,000 bracket. Obviously, he joined us from Sligo Rovers and actually went back out on loan there last January even. And he seemed to have done pretty well. Look, Ed McGinty he's a player that didn't get a massive opportunity at our football club. The few games he did feature in, they weren't great. It did seem a bit rash at times. Looked fine with the ball at his feet, which obviously when he was brought in by Karl Robinson, that's, we wanted a ball playing goalkeeper, and some very memorable performances from from Ed McGinty, I should say, not Stephan Negru, Ed McGinty. Look, it's probably the best thing for his career to go back to the League of Ireland and continue playing his football, because he wasn't really going to get another chance at our football club, was he? We've got Matt Ingram, we've got Jamie Cumming as our two starting goalkeepers. Jacob Knightbridge obviously is in and around the first team setup, having obviously been recalled from Braintree early in the campaign. Monty Marriott, Eddie Breesley, because the name of that are two young goalkeepers we've got. Even look at down in the under 18s ranks, we've got a pretty decent goalkeeper there. So there's a couple of lads that are going to be way ahead of Ed McGinty. Good luck to him in his return to the League of Ireland. I think Shamrock's a pretty good move for him. Now on the flip side, we've got one recall, one loan coming back and then being sold, and then we've got a loan that wasn't in our control. It's very interesting. In a couple of videos I've mentioned that we've had no confirmation on the status of Ben Nelson. Now, according to Gary Rowett, his recovery, much like it was with Joe Bennett, is ahead of schedule, so he might actually feature at some point in the rest of the campaign for Oxford United, which could be a massive boost in terms of defensive options. That's another big reason I think why Stephan Negru is going to go out on loan. So we still had two Premier League loanees at the club. Obviously, Malcolm Abuhi left at the very beginning of the window. We've only got one left now because it was announced literally today that Dane Scarlett has been recalled by Tottenham Hotspur. There were rumblings of this at the beginning of the window, that a change of manager meant that Spurs hierarchy were maybe thinking that Dane wasn't going to be able to get the minutes that he wanted, that we wanted him to get. But it's sad to see him recalled, because I think this is a player that was really showing what he's capable of. If we look at his performances in Oxfordshire, 22 appearances in all competitions, 7 starts, 20 matches in total played, 4 goals. Of course, those goals being in the first goal I think was this one, wasn't it, against Middlesbrough, which obviously was a consolation goal. Got a goal again, the opening goal of the game against Swansea, and then if we go even further back, against Derby County, got the opening goal of that game, and then his first goal was the equaliser against West Brom just after the international break, after he got his first goal for the England youth setup. Obviously, he had a lot more opportunities in the Watford game. He could have had 1 or 2 goals. But obviously, this kind of coincides with not getting an awful lot of minutes for Oxford United. So, yeah, it's a shame, really, because, we know that he's obviously a very, very talented player. We saw that in the way he applied himself. Didn't start his Oxford career all that well, but he massively improved, and it's a shame because it's another stop-start loan for Dane Scarlett. He had it last campaign with Ipswich, and yeah, it's a real shame because this is a lad that needs just a full campaign out on loan. You know, his last one was at Portsmouth where he didn't do awfully well, but on a game, you know, goals per game ratio, his best spell out on loan has been with us. And look, I'm sure it's very, very unlikely we'd be able to get him back. I'm not sure Gary Rowett would want him back. I'm sure many of us fans would. But, you know, I wish Dane Scarlett nothing but the best. There's a very talented player in there. And obviously, so much pressure has been on this young man throughout his career. And to be able to, you know, come into a side that was struggling and get, you know, for... Obviously, in two of these games, there were very important goals. That equaliser last minute, flicked header into the back of the net against West Brom, got the opening goal against Derby County, and then, you know, not much he could do against Swansea, and obviously Middlesbrough was just a battering, but, you know, to get a consolation goal, I mean, you know, showed that he just kept on going, kept on, you know, running his backside off. Obviously was phased out as Rowett came in, and, you know, it's a real shame because, like I say, he's a very talented player in there. So best of luck to Dane Scarlett for the rest of his footballing career, and you never know, maybe we'll see him down the line at some point. Let's go on to the arrival, shall we? So the first arrival is that of another Premier League loanee. As one goes out, we had another come in the door, that being Alex Matos has signed from Chelsea on a season-long loan deal. Very interesting signing, Alex Matos, because this is a player that, another player who's had stop-start loans in his career so far, but I think it's fair to say, obviously, it was at Huddersfield side that ended up succumbing to the drop, but he was part of a pretty decent midfield. Obviously, the three midfielders that were kind of favoured in that Huddersfield run were Matos and Kusumu as the sitters, with Jack Radoni just behind the striker as kind of a 10th shadow role, kind of trying to link up the play for Huddersfield. But let's go through the club statement. Oxford United are delighted to announce the signing of Alex Matos on loan from Chelsea for the remainder of the season. The 20-year-old midfielder arrived with Premier League and Championship experience, having made his Chelsea debut last season before ending the campaign on loan with Huddersfield Town, where he made 19 league appearances, as we mentioned. And that talked about his starting his career with Norwich City, and that he recently been capped by the under-20 side. Speaking of signing to the club, Matos said, "This is the right move for me at this stage in my career. I'm joining a team where I hope I can make a difference and win a lot of games while continuing to improve as a player. I've spoken with the gaffer and I'm confident I can help the team and become a better player under his guidance. I'm a tenacious player who likes to get up and down the pitch and put a tackle in. Having experienced the Championship last season, I'm really happy to be back in the league and I feel it suits my style. My aim is to come in and help make an instant impact. It will be massive for us to stay in the league, and my ambition is to ensure the team reach that goal. For me, this is the right place to be." And of course, as we always do, we get a little bit of a comment from Gary Rowett. Obviously, we have seen a bit of Alex Matos. He came on against Exeter City, as we mentioned, in the league. Wasn't a great introduction. Obviously, gets skinned along with Sam Long in the middle of the park, and Exeter go up and get their third goal. And then, of course, he had two sub appearances against Plymouth and against Blackburn. I think the Plymouth ones made a better showing for Alex Matos. He was, obviously, when he came on, you could see that tenacious nature of this lad, getting into challenges, really, you know, putting his foot in and getting about a bit, and he looked a pretty decent addition. Yes, also, I must say, you know, even though I think Plymouth was maybe a slightly better performance from Alex Matos, I thought he had a pretty decent showing against Blackburn. You know, getting stuck in, trying to lead on the break. And yeah, a very smart signing, I think, from Ed Waldron. Obviously, he's not the first Chelsea loanee we've had at this football club. Obviously, we had Jamie Cumming last season. He's also not the first former Chelsea midfielder. Of course, we've got Josh Mack in the building. So, you know, there's, I'm sure he's maybe past Jamie Cumming in the hall. So there's a bit of room there we can bond, and I'm sure, you know, he's been around England youth setups alongside Ben Nelson, and obviously previously Dane Scarlett, who I'm sure would have help him bed in before Dane went back to Spurs. So yeah, Alex Matos, I think of a smart little addition. If we look at the campaign he had at Huddersfield last campaign, he made 19 appearances as the club noted, scoring a single goal. And again, if we go back through this, you know, he played around about an hour for the last 2 games of the campaign, and against Swansea as well. So, you know, this strikes me as a lad that kind of, you know, is working his nuts off every single game, to the point where some managers think maybe I need to hook him because maybe he's getting a bit tired. Playing the full 90 against Stoke and against Coventry. And then obviously this is a little bit of a slower introduction to the league. I wonder if he had a bit of a knock here between February and middle of March. Didn't play at all against Rotherham. But yeah, you know, fair number of championship numbers under his belt. And like I say, I think a smart signing from Ed Waldron and the rest of the recruitment team. Obviously yet to start for us, but I'm sure, you know, that first start is only a few games down the line. 2 more signings to talk about. The first being that of Tom Bradshaw from Millwall. Now, reportedly his contract was coming to an end in the summer, so it would have been a very small fee. I'm going to guess around £200,000 maybe to bring in Tom Bradshaw from the Den. Looking at Millwall fans' reactions, they are delighted that we've taken him off their hands. Obviously, he's a player that worked with Gary Rowett before, and we'll get into those stats where how he played under Rowett in a minute. Again, let's go through the club statement. Let's go through what Bradshaw has said for himself. Oxford United delighted to announce the signing of striker Tom Bradshaw on a permanent deal from Sky Bet Championship side Millwall. The 32-year-old, who becomes Oxford's 3rd January recruit, ends a 7-year spell with the London club and once again links up with former manager Gary Rowett. A Wales international, Bradshaw has a vast experience at Championship level, spending his last 9 years within the division with Barnsley and Millwall. Again, mentioning that he came through Shrewsbury Town's Academy and then went to Walsall, where it seems he linked up with former Oxford United man Ben Purkis. So, you know, seems to be all kinds of Oxford links going on with Tom Bradshaw. And then mentions his best season was scoring 17 in the 22-23 campaign under Gary Rowett. Speaking after finalising his move to the club, Bradshaw had the following to say: "This is something that I feel I need in my career. This is a fresh start, a fresh challenge, and I'm ready to go out and impress everyone at the club. My aim is to leave everything out on the pitch. That's the type of player I am. I thrive off scoring goals, and ultimately it's my job now to do that, and so I can help the team win games. I've seen firsthand this season how strong and competitive this team here is, having played Oxford twice." I'm struggling with the sentence structure a little bit on these, you can tell a little bit. "And this group is one that I want to be involved in. The cherry on top is getting to work with Gary again, who was my coach for 4 years, so I know what he wants from me, and hopefully we can deliver together." So yeah, obviously, it's played under Gary out before. 32 years old, so look, he's obviously coming in to compete, maybe see out the latter stages of games. Also, I think to provide a bit of a mature shoulder for maybe Mark Harris. I think more likely some of the younger players around, obviously Gatland Donker and Will Goodwin, both coming out on loan. But I'm thinking of, you know, players in the youth setup like Louis Griffiths, who obviously we know is a very talented young striker. I think having that experience here to kind of guide his development would be quite important. So like I say, although I'm slightly underwhelmed by this signing, I think, you know, it's from a club culture perspective could be a pretty decent bit of business. The bit about why I'm underwhelmed is if we look at his record. So, if we go back through his site, like we said, he scored 17 in back-to-back campaigns for Millwall, after kind of not being great in his first couple of campaigns with Shrewsbury. Then he got his move to Barnsley, where he got 8 goals in the league, and then a 12-goal delivery in the following campaign, but that's only 9 league goals. Then gets his move to Millwall in the middle of the transfer window. So plays 5 games for Millwall, and then gets his move. 5 games for Barnsley, gets his move to Millwall. Just scored the 1 goal of that campaign. I presume he must have had some kind of injury, having only played 10 Championship games for Millwall in the 18-19 season. Then we get his first good season at Millwall. 10 goals in all competitions, only 8 in the league. Again, still not hitting that 10 goals in the league mark. 4 in all comps, 9 in the league. Then we get his his big season, I should say. 17 goals in all competitions, all being in the Championship under Gary Rowett. And then 4 in the league last season, 1 in the league this season. So as you can see, to me this strikes me a lot more that 17 goal campaign under Gary Rowett was a lot more of a meet you season, a kind of, a one-off, just based on his goal returns throughout the rest of his career. I will say that he looked fairly useful, getting to that obviously in the Blackburn review. He looked useful when he came on as a sub, but I think if we were looking for a prolific, proven Championship striker, Bradshaw isn't that. He's not that at all, and whether it's unlikely, I think at this point, that the club are going to bring in another striker. Just given the fact that obviously Dane Scarlett's gone back to Tottenham, as we've mentioned for maybe the 4th or 5th time in this video. He's been recalled. We link to players like Jayden Danns on loan from Liverpool, but I don't think Liverpool are going to send him here, given that there's no guarantee he'll get regular first team minutes. I think it's much more likely he goes to a Stoke, who obviously have just had Tom Cannon recalled. So I don't think he's that that prolific championship goal scorer we're looking for. He'll provide competition, no doubt about it, but yeah, it's definitely more of a squad purchase than one to instantly come in and displace Mike Harris. I think it's absolutely fair to say. There is links to another wide man who can play at the 9 that seems going to be completed this week, so we'll have to wait and see. And then the final bit of business Oxford have done so far in this window is a move that kind of shocked a fair number of people. That is the signing of Michal Helick from Huddersfield Town. Now, what I'll say first off the bat is that I thought, he's a very highly rated centre-back. Some people are talking about him as they think he could be, playing for a side in the top half of the league. So very, very highly regarded is Michal Helick. I was thinking this is going to smash Ole Romney's price, just based on the fact that, like I say, Huddersfield are a side that looking like they're going to make the bounce back up to the division. Highly rated, former Polish international. But according to Jerome Sale, who is obviously very close with everything going on at the football club, he's reporting that it's less than Siriki Dembele's fee. He thinks the fee might be as low as about £500,000, which, if that's the deal we've done, is an extraordinary fee to pay for this guy. Now, I think it was the case that his contract was expiring in the summer. Huddersfield had an option on his contract. They didn't take it, maybe because he'd already made it clear he was going to leave or force a move in this window, if not in the summer. But it's a great bit of business. Obviously played against Blackburn. We'll mention that a little bit, but obviously I'll go a bit more in depth into that in the Blackburn review. But let's go through the club statement again. Oxford United are thrilled to announce the signing of experienced Poland international defender Michal Helick. Capped 7 times by his national team and with 4 years of experience in the Championship with Barnsley and Huddersfield Town, Helick is one of the most assured central defenders in the EFL. Again, talking about previous time in Poland where he won the Polish Cup. Talking about other achievements, and he was registered in time, obviously to play against Blackburn. But it's a really weird one, this, because it was a 7 PM announcement, which is a very late one for this football club to announce transfers. Speaking about his excitement after joining United, he said, "I'm joining this club because I can see the ambition. This is the right place for me because there is a drive to improve and that matches my ambition. I've come here with the aim of helping to keep Oxford in the Championship this season. We should always aim higher, and I will do my best every day to win for the club and to push us further up the table. I'm experienced, but I'm also very hungry to learn and improve every day. I'm all ready to fight for this badge and I want to achieve our goals together. I'm still improving. The best is yet to come from me." Obviously 29 years old. It's around about the prime for centre-backs. Centre-backs are a little bit like goalkeepers. They kind of keep developing for a little bit into their 30s. And Helick, he's proven himself, we'll go into in his previous stats for his previous career, clubs. He's a bit of a goal threat. Again, Rowett, speaking about his excitement at the signing, a very smart bit of business from Oxford United. And yeah, let's have a look. Obviously started that one game, played the full 90 minutes, did pretty well. What I'm more interested in is if we look at last season with Huddersfield in the Championship. Obviously, like we said, this is the season where they got relegated. 41 times he played, 9 goals. He's 6'3", and yeah, he seems to be a bit of a goal threat. Already got 2 for Huddersfield, 6 for Barnsley in his first season with them, 8 in in his first season with his previous Polish club. So yeah, but a bit of a goal threat from set pieces, maybe Wolvolks and Tyler Goodman off those long throws and corner kicks respectively. Going to have new targets to aim for. I mean, imagine him and Elliot Moore playing next to 6'5" and 6'3". Not many defenders are going to like that idea. But yeah, it's a really assured, smart bit of business, I think. It again shows the ambition of this football club. We're going to refine this just to his League One stats. Obviously, he's only played so many games, or only played 1 game for us so far. But yeah, it's a smart bit of business, I think, from the football club. Get more Championship experience in the door. And yeah, it's certainly a deal that a lot of people were surprised about. Especially, I think, before people knew the fee. There seems to be a perception about our football club that we're broke and that we've got no money. At times, don't get me wrong, that has been the case. It seems to have been in the past a bit of a mission for our owners to try and financially drive us into the ground. But our owners, as we've shown with a €2 million signing of a lad from Utrecht, the owners have got some money to throw around, and they've done that with Michal Helick. Like I say, I think of a smart addition to the football club. That extra bit of defensive reinforcements that we needed. Obviously, like I mentioned, Ben Nelson. Apparently, he's going to be back ahead of schedule, which would be an incredible recovery time from him. Because we thought this season might be over, but But if we look at the centre back options now, obviously got Sam Long, who was back in training ahead of the Luton game. I don't think he'll feature because still don't know the extent of that knock that he had at Plymouth. Elliot Moore, Kieran Brown, Michal Helick, and also, of course, Jordan Thornley, who you can't write out because I think Thornley, in the few appearances he's made, has done really, really well. So, we're definitely a club that is... we've got numbers in the centre-back positions, which is a nice change for our football club. Obviously, as we've mentioned previously, Joe Bennett is close to coming back from his knock, or from his lengthy injury, I should say. But yeah, it's been a very, very interesting transfer window for Oxford United. So let me know your thoughts on all the bits of business we've talked about today. The signings of Michal Helick, Tom Bradshaw and Alex Matos. The recall of Dane Scarlett. The sale of Ed McGinty. And the recalling and likely loaning out again of Stephan Negru. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I'll see you for the route of the Blackburn game.